Hi, Tara here at the Paper Snob. Welcome to another Scraplift Crafternoon. This week we are scrap lifting Cilla. I will be providing the video to the layout that we are scrap lifting of hers in my description box below. I will also put that layout up here in the corner so that you can see her beautiful grid layout that she created using my mind's eye gingham foundry. It's a gorgeous layout, just trust me. It'll be up here just for your reference. I am going to be scrap lifting a pretty special photo of mine. This photo was taken of my husband and I by a professional photographer in 2015. She volunteers her time to take pictures of homecomings between soldiers and their families, probably from any branch of the service, but this particular airline was carrying home soldiers from Afghanistan. She caught me running towards my husband and him with his arms out as if he was going to grab me and hug me. This is such a precious photo to me. And as you know, he just came home from another deployment recently and will be heading off again soon. So I will probably have more photos like that, I hope. I am considering making a double page layout with this. I don't know that I'm going to do that on this video, but I am considering it because those three photos all go together very well. I have decided to use this My Mind's Eye Wild Asparagus paper line for my Scraplift Crafternoon because one, it matches kind of what we're wearing, and two, there was a kind of a cute paper in the paper pad, or in the paper collection, with lemons on it. Lemons are really popular right now, but this paper says my main squeeze, and if you know me, you know that I am madly, deeply in love with my husband, so I wanted to make sure that I use this pattern paper on this scrap lift if I can. So let's get started. All right, I'm back. I have cut down my papers for this layout. The first paper is just regular, and this is not intentional in the move. The packers damaged some of the tops of my pattern papers, and this is just one casualty. I decided it was okay, and I was going to go ahead and use it in full on the as a backing on this layout. I'm not going to gut it because I actually have another sheet in a pack that's not opened. Yes, I bought 2 packs of this. I actually pre-ordered this one as well as the gingham foundry that they put out. Glad I did, because those are the last 2 collections that My Mind's Eye put out, and they have always been my favorite company, so I'm really sad that they're not going to be making pattern paper anymore, but I guess that's just where we're at in the industry. The second sheet of paper, again, didn't gut it, and maybe I might go ahead and gut this one because I really love both sides of it. I cut it down to 11.5 by 11.5 so that I could make a mat for this particular scrap lift. This other piece here I cut down to, I think it's 11.25 by 8. And then these each pieces are, this one is 2.5 by 3.5. This is 2.25 by 3.25. And as you saw, I had them all laid out. I did start sewing to make sure that I was going to get the look that Cilla got on hers, and I think I did. I used, of course, the stripe is the back side of this, so that means I've used almost this entire sheet. And then on this one, I used this side as well as this side. I just flipped it for the words. I know that you're not going to see the words very much, but that's okay. It's kind of what I was going for. you're going to end up something like this on here. I am going to go ahead and show you how I accomplished this just with one of them, and then I'm going to go off camera to finish doing all of the rest. I have to tell you, this is gorgeous in person. Cilla did such a good job with hers. I'm pretty sure she did her sewing with sewing machine. I have a love-hate relationship with sewing machines. It's typically they love to hate me, and every time I touch one, something goes wrong. To be fair, the last sewing machine I sewed a layout on was a really old machine. I think it was just worn out, and it wasn't the right kind of machine to sew on paper. My husband purchased me a brand new sewing machine this past spring. I haven't touched it to sew on paper. I have sewn with it once to show my son how to use it, and that's it. My husband has used it multiple times, but he bought a machine that is heavy duty because he bought it to sew on his Jeep seats. So it should sew on paper. I haven't made the decision to pull it out. And that's the thing, I have to pull it out to use it. So yes, I did this by hand. It is the embroidery stitch, the back stitch, and I used regular sewing thread doubled rather than embroidery floss, and it gives you pretty much the same look. Cilla left some of the tails out on hers, and so I brought it back up on the back and did that here. But I'll do one of these on camera for you, and then I'll do the rest off camera because you don't need to see me do 9 of them. So I'll be right back to do one of them. Real fast here that when you make the punched holes with your paper piercer on a square or basically any shape, you need to make sure you get the corners. So on the square, I got the 4 corners first. If you were doing a heart, you would want to do the point of the heart and the top of the heart where the curvy lines meet in the middle as well, so that you get even stitching all the way around your piece. took about 15 minutes to create each of those 9 little rectangles that I put on this layout. I just thought you would like to know about how much time it took for me to do that by hand. So I did finish the rectangles off camera, and I glued everything to create my background down off camera as well. I was a little disappointed that you're not going to be able to see my main squeeze on that lemon paper at all, but it's okay. You kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to say in the layout just by the elements that I do add to my page. I'm just going to play around with the way they're laid out on camera and just see how I like things. Here's my finished layout. I'll bring it up close and let you look at some of the details. I did want to mention that In many places I ended up with some stitches that didn't quite come through all the way, and I really think that that just adds to the appeal of the grungy look that I was going for, and that I believe stayed true to Cilla's layout as well. I know that she said that she went back and scuffed up the edges a second time, but I felt like mine were scuffed up enough, even though I sewed every piece. I did sew all 9 of these by hand. I like to sew by hand, so it's not that big of a deal. I usually do it while I'm watching TV or watching a YouTube video or something, so it just gives my hands something to do. I did go with a visual triangle kind of here, but I also added some chipboard pieces over here to put some dimension on this side. I do still have 2 other photos from this day, and I will probably go ahead and make a second page. I don't know if it'll be exactly the same as this one, but we'll see. Anyway, I just hope that you guys have a great Sunday afternoon. Make sure you check out the description below my video to see what all of the other ladies are doing. I will link them all up below. Have a great Sunday, and thank you for stopping by. Bye. I did add some journaling off camera, and I think I even moved things around a little bit off camera. I did also add some pen stitching and some other small details to my layout after I finished the layout in the end. So I just wanted to make a note that I did do a little bit of extra stuff off camera. I hope that you do have a great Sunday. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.